We are going to start in approximately 1 minute. Just give a couple of members a chance to be seated and we'll start. I should take out my agenda and work for me. We're going to call to order our regularly scheduled Citizen Advisory Committee meeting for Tuesday, May the 19th, 2026. And we will start with our roll call, please. Amy.
Mr.
Amanda.
Merzen, and he's joining us via Zoom.
I see him.
Ms. Ritz,
Here.
Mr. Brown,
Here.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Dr. D'Annunzio,
Here.
Ms. Campbell, Chairman Benson, Ms. Cromartie,
Here.
Mr. Kirschner,
Here.
and Mr. Stevens.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. That being said, we will move to our invocation and pledge of allegiance. And I've asked Mr. Kirschner if he will lead us in both, please.
As we stand here today, let us pray to God for all who hold positions, leadership on our ECUA board, and those who hold responsibility in our community. Let your blessings rest upon us all and make us responsive to your will, so that we may be an example of justice, service, and compassion. Deepen our love for our community and our desire to serve its citizens. Strengthen our power of self-sacrifice for our community's welfare. Teach us to uphold its good name by our own right conduct. Cause us to see clearly that the well-being of our community is in our hands and all of its citizens. Do us with zeal for the cause of service in the community. Help us to always keep our citizens' homes and families safe. Amen. Attention to colors. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Thank you. We will proceed with the adoption of our agenda. Do we have any additions or any additions to our agenda? See none. We have a short agenda. Do I have a motion to approve our agenda?
I'll second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Campbell and seconded by Mrs. Benson. Any questions? No questions, please vote. We're waiting for the tally of the votes. And the approval of the agenda is by unanimous, 10-0. I want to take a moment to thank the chairwoman, Mrs. Benson, for allowing me the opportunity to hone my skills in her presence at this meeting today. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to proceed to our open forum. I have no pink slips. This is an open forum. We have two of those, one at the beginning and one at the end of our meeting. So if you hear something that interests you, you're welcome to share the open forum later. Okay, then we're going to proceed to number 5 on our agenda, which is our presentations. We have 3 presentations today, first of which will be our advanced metering infrastructure by Brian Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. We've talked a little bit about advanced metering infrastructure in the past. I'm just going to call it AMI for simplicity. And I'm going to try to explain it a little bit today and tell you what the benefits and what the costs are and why it may be a good idea for ECUA to proceed with this in the future. Okay, so I thought I would start by telling you how we're reading our meters today. The process that we use is called automated meter reading, AMR, and what we have is a meter in the ground at someone's business or home, and we have a truck that drives by with a collector that picks up the meter readings, and then it's brought back to our central office, and then we import it into our billing software, and that's how the customer receives their bill. So a couple things in that. We read the meters every 30 days on average, so we're getting about 12 meter readings per year for each customer. And each one of those requires that we send a truck out to drive around and pick up the readings. What we're using for meters for the most part are what I'm going to call mechanical water meters. It has a disc inside of a brass body, and as that disc spins around, it registers how much water goes through the meter. And it's got mechanical parts which age and slow down over time, and you lose accuracy every year that meter is in the ground. So that's going to be important for moving forward. So advanced metering infrastructure is a system by which the meters transmit to some collectors out in the system, and then the readings are transmitted back to our billing office. So during the day, the meter will transmit 6 times a day, and it will transmit readings for each hour of the day. So instead of the 12 meter readings that we're getting now, we'll get 8,760 meter readings for a year. And so that gives us a lot more data points to look at, a lot more information that we can share with customers. And that information is coming in on a daily basis. Really, you're getting it multiple times a day. And so as a customer has a question, we're able to pull it up from a computer here centrally, and we can answer a question for a customer immediately, rather than having to send out a truck to get a reading, and we could just provide a lot better service with this method.
Yes, quick question, Mr. Reed. Mrs. Benson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So is somebody monitoring this so that, or is there a process it could not be? So that if characteristic, catch it immediately?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. That's one of the biggest benefits
Okay.
of this system is that you can set it up to monitor a customer's consumption. If the meter's reading continuously throughout the night, you know, it's pretty obvious they're not using water throughout the night, or sudden jump in consumption, it'll provide an alert. And also, if a customer says, you know, they're on a fixed income, fixed budget, and they've set their parameters for what they want to use, then they can set that up and they'll get a notification. Hey, you've used almost your allotted amount for the month. You may want to slow down your consumption a little bit. There's lots of things, lots more information.
A couple questions. Thank you, Ms.
Yeah, so can this be shared on the app so that they can look at their readings at any, he's answering back there, yes, yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So they can look at it at any time?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's, it'd be a customer portal that would be accessible through the app.
Okay.
So customer could be looking at the bill, hey, why is it high this month? They can go to their readings and look at it and get some information.
Thank you. Dr. DiNanzio?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So can this monitor at simultaneously all the customers, the 100,000 customers, to see an event that Ms. Benson was referring to, that somebody had a leak start and it fell within a certain parameters? So is this possible with this system to monitor everybody's at the same time to alert of maybe one leak in the system? Or do you have to call it up by customer to look at it?
Well, I think you could do a little bit of both. I mean,
So you're not sure?
I'm not sure.
Thank you.
Mark, if it's okay, I've got Mark Costello from Census Meter, and he's a little more
Okay.
knowledgeable than I am about that.
You understand my question,
Yes, sir.
don't you? So that you have 100,000 customers and want to set parameters if something's flowing through at, I don't know, 200 gallons an hour, it's going to show up and the customer doesn't have to ask for it first. It's going to show
That's
up and
correct.
say, we got a problem here.
Yes, sir. So there's no, like,
Can you
have to-
state your name and position for the record?
Okay. My name is Mark Costello, and name and what else?
Position for the record of you.
Okay.
You work for.
A company called Xylem. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me today. To answer your question, there's no like call in, you have to phone in to get that information. It's simultaneously coming in. So as these notifications come in, it's going to be directed to the individual that's applicable to. But also, there's nothing you have to physically toggle to ask that question. It is operating as its own ecosystem. I can restate that if you want me to.
No, that's
Good?
fine.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I say it in a little different way? And correct me if I'm wrong. As a utility owner, we can set certain parameters if we globally want to have all our customers notified if certain types of conditions exist. Continuous reads, flow rates that are more than a certain percentage above than the previous months or something, you know, whatever we choose to be. But in addition to that, the customer can come in and set some parameters that they're more concerned about if they want to make it more restrictive or provide them more information in it above and beyond the global settings that we may provide. Is that correct?
Okay, thank you. We'll be at your way shortly. Mrs. Rich, you are
Thank you,
recognized.
Mr. Chairman. I have a question. Will this system create graphs
Yes, ma'am.
for the customer at the customer's request or only at the request of ECUA staff?
I'm not sure if the customer portal will be set up to create graphs. I'm sure that we can create a graph for the customer. And there may be some that are built in, and it may be that we customize it to produce graphs. I think there's a lot of things that we can do with it.
I'd be curious. Thank you.
Have anything else you wanted to add to that?
Pardon?
Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that information?
Yes, sir. It does create graphs, and it's going to be able to show how much consumption by hour, by day, by month. So think of the individual who is going to pay their bill, and they realize that bill's a lot higher than it normally is. They can go into that data to see what. Also get text, email, alerts to also. So if there is like that notification, so instead of getting that $3,000 water bill, you're getting that notification, essentially make that repair. Graphs and data that is.
Mr. Kirschner, you recognized.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. A few years ago, I inquired, before I was appointed to this committee, I inquired with the gentleman who, Mr. Woody's place he took, Mr. Sorrell, and I asked him, I said, how do you collect all this information? Well, there's a satellite, I got an eye in the sky, and I thought, I don't. So I've learned a lot by being here. But back to the meters. Meters will still stay residential, for example. They will still stay on someone's property. You're not going to change out the meters.
No, sir, it'll be exactly the same setup. It'll just be a different way of transmitting the information from the meter. But it'll be, still go out in your front yard and there'll be a meter sitting there.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Gramani?
Yes, so in essence then, if the customer want to look at a history, a 12-month running history, that will be accessible and available to them?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you.
Very good questions from the dais. Now, I want to know, you said it records data 8,095 times. What's that frequency? Is it every?
That would be once an hour for 365 days.
Okay.
So you would get 24 readings every day for 365 days.
Okay.
That's where that number comes from.
Okay, thank you. Please continue.
Yes, sir. So another advantage of this system, beyond the customer service aspect of it, is that it would reduce the workload that we're currently doing. So if a customer moves in, we get an initial read from the meter to start their account. Okay, that each time we do an initial read of the meter, we have to send a truck out there to visually read the meter. Anytime somebody moves out, we have to send a truck out to visually read the meter to get that information. And anytime we need a reread, we have to go send a truck and get that information. So all of those work tasks can now be done from a computer desk. You don't have to send a truck out there. And I did a calculation for 2025, and we had 31,600 work orders of that type. If you assume that each one takes 15 minutes, then that's 7,900 hours of employee time. And if a normal number of hours in a work year is 2,080 hours, then that's 4 full-time employees just doing those work orders to go out and drive to a meter and read it for those purposes. So all that can, I mean, there's still time involved in it, but it's much less time because it's at the click of a button and you can just pull it up on your computer screen. And it'll save us a lot of time, which can be, you know, repurposed to doing other tasks throughout the day and, you know, may help with our overtime budget and keeping current with the other work.
Can I ask you to pause right there? I have a question. Dr. DiDonzio?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you explain why a reread would be necessitated? Why is that? I know the initial, I know the final. Why, what prompts a reread?
A lot of times it's going to be bad handwriting. It's going to be the reading that they got doesn't make sense. Maybe the customer has requested a reread because they think the read that we got was not correct. So, and that points out another advantage to this is that you're reading a number, somebody didn't write down that number. It's being transmitted from the meter. So it's hard to mess that up for the person in billing or customer service. They're just looking at the number directly. There's no bad handwriting involved in it.
Indulge me. So where does the bad handwriting come in? When the truck goes around and is getting the electronic signal, that's not digitally done? Somebody's writing that number? Where are we getting handwriting in the process?
Well, there's two separate things. The meter readings that we get on the 30-day cycle, that is electronically transmitted to a device in the truck that's driving the route. Right. When we do the initials, finals, and rereads, we're sending a truck out that does not have that device. They just go and open up the meter, read the display on the meter, and write that number down.
So about a 3% error rate as I read it. If you're doing 30,000 initials and 30,000 finals and you got about 900, there's a 3% handwriting or an error rate. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Please continue. Thank you.
So we covered already some of these, the benefits to customers. They'll have access to their meter reading history, either through the customer portal or, you know, if they want to call customer service, or if they want to do both. If they want to go through the portal and the customer service rep can work through the information with them at the same time. They can be notified of a potential leak almost immediately, whereas now, with the 30-day cycle, a customer's leak could start the day after the meter reading. So that leak could go on for 29 days, and they won't know till we go and read the meter again, and then we go through the readings, and then we send out a notification. So that will save us, well, it'll make the customers a lot happier, and it'll also save us the time and effort and expense of adjusting the customer's bill when it's agreed that there's a leak on the meter. So, of course, the customer will be able to access their information through the portal. This is just kind of an example of a generic customer portal. It's not necessarily the one we would have. It's just giving you an idea of what one would look like. The customer has access to all of their readings. They can go in and do this themselves. They don't have to call in and talk to somebody. And like we talked about earlier, it can be integrated with the ECUA, the My ECUA app that we've rolled out, and basically one stop to get all the information that a customer may want to get. So there's a few things that I think we're looking for in a AMI system. I think it's important. There's really two options. There's a cellular option, and then there's a radio transmission option. Based on my research, I think the radio transmission option is the best. It's you can have a stronger transmission signal, especially if it's a licensed frequency from the FCC, licensed by the FCC. You can have a stronger transmission signal. You don't have to worry about overcrowding in an emergency where they may reduce the bandwidth of the cellular transmissions just down to emergency personnel. The network would be controlled by ECUA, and if somebody was to interfere with our signals, with our transmissions, the FCC would step in and take action. And probably the biggest one is it's not subject to change. Like, I assume everybody had an issue with 3G or 4G telephones, cell phones. This technology is not going to change. It's made for these meters, and it's not going to get outdated, and we don't have to do some massive change out because the technology has changed.
Wait. It just came online, right? We didn't always have this technology.
No, sir, we do not have it now.
No, I mean,
Right.
the availability of this technology just became available, right?
No, it's been available for a while. We just, it's a big transition. So, we've been reviewing everything and looking at the different options and trying to make sure we make the best decision for ECUA. It's not something we wanted to enter into lightly.
So this is 100-year decision that we're talking about.
I don't know if it's a 100-year decision.
Okay, so we're talking a 50-year decision.
Well,
I mean, when you say it doesn't change, I'm trying to put some time frame around not changing, right? Because I didn't know about this 20 years ago, know about it now, and it stays the same for 50 years, that'd be great, but if it doesn't change in 10 years, that's not really that long.
right. I don't know.
Your question, traditionally, these last for 20 years, but when we say changing, we're not going to be licensed frequencies. They don't change. There's a 100-year lease. Make updates to improve them, to modernize them with the times, but you're not going to, after 6 years, have to replace everything because next generation of the 100-year lease that you can update over the air, improve with the times as well. So traditionally it's 20 years, but a lot of people continue on, and the earliest licensed frequency AMI system started about 21 years ago. Tried, true, and proven technology.
Stay right there.
Yes, sir.
There's several questions. We'll start at the far end, Mr. Stevens.
No, and I'm just to confirm what you were saying, I'm assuming this is much like all of our cell phones where you're going to be able to send updates and so forth. So obviously the frequency you have a 100-year lease on when it comes to updates and upgrades and so forth, you're going to send out annual, semi-annual, whatever the case may be, software updates. So
Yes, whenever those
this
are
will last
applicable.
us for quite a while. The hardware part of it will last us for quite a
Yes,
while.
sir.
Software will be updated periodically.
Now imagine on your cell phone in that same circumstance. Now imagine this network is only for meters and sensors and utility. Only focus on just utility
Sure.
business, not 300 things that sell.
Mrs. Benson?
Yeah, I think maybe, Mr. Williams, we are talking about two different things. we're talking about, one is the meter technology, which is something new to us, but the other is the radio frequency by which it's transmitted, which is something that's very stable. So we're talking about two different things. And in both cases, this is good.
Yeah, radio frequency we're familiar with. That's, quite ancient or stable in the way we transmit data, but Mrs. Campbell.
Yeah, so I was just going to say the same thing, is I think we're getting sidetracked on technology change. I don't think he's talking about the meter technology change. He's talking about the licensed radio frequency. Not going to change.
Well, you got to make your presentation clear.
It was clear to some of us.
It wasn't clear to me. Dr. D'Annunzio.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, on that point, you're saying that technology is, it's not going to change. Yet, how long ago was it that you were sending people out to read the meters? When did you change to the radio gathering that data? How long ago was that technology changed?
That started around 2006.
All right, so that's 20 years.
Yes,
So
sir.
20 years. So we're saying, okay, maybe in 20 years we have another technological breakthrough. I think that's what Mr. Williams was trying to get at. You can't say it's going to be forever because technology is evolving very quickly.
Correct.
Any other, Ms. Campbell?
Yeah, again, I don't think he was talking about those changing technology. I think he's talking about the licensed radio frequency.
Please clarify, Mr. Reed, what you're talking about.
Yes, sir. I'm talking about the radio technology, the transmission technology, which is, like you said, it's been pretty stable.
Okay, thank you. Please continue.
Okay, so the other component to this is the water meters that we're using. As I mentioned earlier, they're mechanical meters. They have moving parts which slow down and they wear out over time. So the newer technology, and now this is more recent, but it's a mature technology that has been, we're not on the experimental edge of this. There's no moving parts. So there's nothing to wear out and degrade over time. And so that means that the meter should stay accurate from the time it's put in the ground until the batteries wear out eventually 20 years in the future. So won't lose, you'll be getting a reading that's just as accurate 20 years from now as you will the day you put the meter in the ground. So the meters we're using now, there was an AWWA study that said on average they lose 0.25% of accuracy per year. And so, and I'm going to get to the business case that we did, and that was done over 15 years, which is why I'm using 15 years for this. So over 15 years, you're losing 3.75% accuracy. So that, if you assume that it's 100% accurate, which that's not really a realistic assumption, but let's just use it for this example. Typical residential customer using 10,500 gallons per month, they're only being registered, only 10,106 gallons of water is being registered at the, after 15 years of time. And that's almost 400 gallons a month, and that's almost 5,000 gallons a year that we're producing and we're pushing out to the customer, but we're not accurately billing them for that amount. So if you multiply that over the 94,100 residential customers we have, that's almost 450 million gallons a year that we're not accurately metering and billing for. And, you know, at a rate of $3.12 per 1,000 gallons, that's 1.4 million gallons a year. Additionally, we have DEP in the Northwest Florida Water Management District want us to keep our unaccounted for water, that's water that we produce but we don't bill for or in any other way account for. They want to keep that below 10%. So that's almost 4% right there with just accurate meter reading and billing. One of the options for a static meter is an electromagnetic meter. It's an electromagnetic field that's on the outside of the tube that the water flows through. You use that technology to collect your meter readings. It's nothing on the inside of the pipe to get damaged. There's not affected by vibration or other environmental factors. And it's very forgiving. It doesn't have to be exactly level. It doesn't have to be installed a certain distance from bins or other fittings, et cetera. So it's a very forgiving technology.
Mr. Reed, I have a question for you.
Question.
Dr. Denazio, I'll be with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can we go back to the previous slide, please? Your losses due to inaccurate meters. Look at all right. So over time, you're saying it loses, the accuracy declines by 0.25% per year. Has that been proven that it's not accounting for it, or is there some cases that it's saying that there's more used than that? What I'm saying is the 0.25%, is that always a minus, or is that variable plus and minus 0.25%?
Yeah, I think it's always a minus. I mean,
Okay.
There's some rare cases where we found some that are reading fast, but that's very, very rare.
All right, so at the beginning, on the first year, you're only losing, you have a rate of $1.4 million per year, but that's at the 15th year. Your calculations are assuming a 96.25% accuracy. That's at the end. That's at the 15th year. At the first year, it's not going to be as much. It's going to be the average between 0 and 1.4 million at the 15th year. So if you're in your calculation assuming that same 1.4 million per year for the 15 years, then your business calculation is going to be off.
Yes, sir, I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
Okay. Mrs. Reese?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Ritz, excuse me.
That's all right. I could give you stories on my name. I'm curious about how far into the soil this is affixed to the pipe. And with climate somewhat changing, are temperature variations of the soil going to impact the readings in any way? Because I know water doesn't flow as well in freezing weather. So I pondered about that.
Generally, the mains are 30 to 36 inches deep.
36, you said?
Yes, ma'am. That would be for the main. The meter and the service line are probably between 12 and 24 inches deep. I'm not aware of the temperature having any effect on the meter reading itself.
Were there any other flaws that were noted in the initial development, during the developmental stage of this unit, that have been corrected that would be of interest to the board and the CAC?
I'm not aware of any. I mean, I'm sure there are some, but I haven't really. And I know that it's a,
Always want to highlight the good that has resulted, but I often wonder what turmoil did it go through getting to that stage?
right, there's no perfect meter, unfortunately.
Thank you, Ms. Ritz. We will, Mrs. Campbell? I
What's
think
the
you-
average age of our meters that are in the ground now? Them at 15 years?
Did a big change-out project, 2006, 7, 8. So probably the average age is getting to be about 20 years old.
So back to the losses due to inaccurate meters question, we're already at the 15-year mark. Okay,
Correct.
Thank you, that's the only point I wanted.
Thank you, Mr. Kirschner?
Yes, thank you, Chair. AMI, there's a contract, I would assume.
Yes, sir.
How long is that contract for?
Morning, Mark Costello again. Traditionally, these contracts are adjustable to what the utility prefers, but traditionally they are 10 years, 10-year period after. That's the traditional approach that AMI vendors take.
And we own the AMI itself on this property. Collects all the information, is that correct?
You own the data, you own all the infrastructure, you own every component related to this project. So my vendor should not and will not sell your data or provide it to other people. Operated full licensing. The utility.
Speak up a little bit, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is fully, sorry, I'm a little short here, apologize.
Yeah, I understand.
Inside joke there, okay.
The utility owns all aspects of the system, so that's hardware, that's data, that's collectors, all aspects. So the AMI vendor has no actual ownership specifically of that data because you traditionally, and it's agreed upon, utilities shouldn't be giving customer data to other people, and that's how we approach it.
Good, thank you. Appreciate that, thank you, Chair.
I've been trying to think of the term that we deal with the, where we have water, loss of, where we, is it I and A?
I and I?
I and I.
Yes, sir.
So how will this system impact I and I? Will it help us reduce I and I?
Well, no, I got it, yeah.
You got it?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
Well, I is an issue with our sewer system, but this will allow us to better monitor what is going out from our water system. So it'll improve our ability to make that comparison between the water, the potable water that we sold and we would expect to come back into the sewer system, and then that delta, that additional amount that comes from I&I, that comes from stormwater or groundwater. So it will help us tighten up that calculation on what's I&I and what's normal flow into the sewer from people's houses, what we expect and want to get into the sewer system.
Thank you. Please continue.
Another thing that we're looking for in the new meters is a robust warranty. One thing that we've had a little bit of an issue with is warranty over the years. We are looking at the census meters that Mark represents. They have a very strong warranty of 15-year full warranty and a 5-year prorated warranty. And then if you return a meter under warranty, you get a full 20-year warranty with the new replacement meter. And that's been one of the current meter that we're using. If you return a meter under warranty, you get a 1-year warranty on the replacement meter, which is not really that impressive, especially comparatively. So we had Arcadis do make the business case for ECUA to make a transition to AMI. And they actually looked at 4 things. If we were to continue what we're doing, which is just putting in mechanical meters, reading them with the drive-by readings, and replacing ones as they fail, and kind of doing a very gradual replacement. In that case, the costs are the same as what we're paying now. It's new meters and replacement registers. Another option would be to just do AMI and continue to use the the mechanical meters that we're using now. And then a third option was AMI plus new mechanical meters. And then the final option was AMI plus static meters. Here are the numbers that they came back with. There's a lot of things that go into those costs and benefits. The costs on the no change, that's just the new meters, the new registers. The negative benefit is because we're not getting the benefit of the more accurate readings of the static meters, and we're not getting the benefit of the AMI system, where we're not having to send a truck out for so many orders. And then the AMI plus new mechanical meters, and then the AMI plus the new static meters. Now, obviously, when you get to the AMI plus the new static meters, it's a much bigger cost, but you get a much bigger benefit in the end. They did, the last column there is a comparison of the reduction in cost. And with the current approach, the cost, and this is a present value analysis, the cost is $39 million. With AMI only, it's going to cost us 32.7. With AMI plus new mechanical meters, 26 million. And then with the AMI plus the static meters, it's going to cost us 16.2 million. So compared to the cost of the no change, it's a $22 million improvement to go with the AMI plus the static meters. So the benefits that we talk about, reduced labor costs, technicians not having to go visually read meters. Technicians can be given other assignments to reduce our overtime budget. Big one is increased revenue due to more accurate meters. And then reduction in bill adjustments from leaks and bad readings, that type of thing. Some additional benefits, you can also, there are some of these meters that you can pick up water pressure and water temperature, which would allow us to better operate our water system and keep track of potential water age, which is reflected with the water temperature, and would allow us to operate our system more effectively. Reduction in lost water that we talked about earlier with meeting the requirements of DEP and the Northwest Florida Water Management District. And then, of course, one of the huge ones is the customer portal and the improved customer service. Some next steps for us is we'd like to begin a pilot project to put up one of these collectors and test it out and confirm that we're getting proof of concept here. And with that, we'd like to start purchasing the static meters for all new installations. Gradually upgrade meters that fail with the new static meters. The long-term steps would be to begin a project to replace all of the old mechanical meters with new static meters, and so that they could be brought into the AMI system. To begin the installation of the collection network to cover the entire area, so that as we put out the new meters, as we replace failed meters with the static meters, that we can bring all of that into our new AMI system. That's it. So,
Ms. Fritz, who is in line, so.
Thank you,
Fritz,
Mr.
please.
Chairman. Where would your pilot project be?
We haven't selected the exact area, but it would be in an area where we're seeing a lot of new growth, so that we wouldn't be changing out meters. We would be putting the static meters in new, with new construction. So we haven't picked out the exact location, but that would be one of the factors in picking it.
Would it be a difference between housing versus business?
It would probably be a residential area.
Again, please.
Residential area, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mrs. Benson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I would move approval of the pilot project and the beginning of purchasing of the static equipment based on the recommendation of Mr. Reed. And if I got a second, then I'd like to make a couple of comments.
I'll second.
I think this is a no-brainer. I mean, this is so good for individual customers as well as our broad customer base. You know, many years ago, I had a leak in my system, which was detected 30 days after it started. I had 2 months of bills that were like $1,000 each. Now, we have forgiveness, but we're still using that water, and we're not getting paid for it. This is going to make that kind of an obsolete situation if we're able to catch these right away. I think we're going to see a drastic reduction in those people asking for forgiveness, for that one-time forgiveness. So, I mean, that's amazing. Plus, we're being responsive to the customers. Customers don't want this to happen either. And if we can alert a customer that they're using this, they're going to say, thank you very much, and proceed. And the fact that this equipment has long-term accuracy, I mean, everything about this, unless you're hiding stuff, we don't know. I think this couldn't be, you know, years ago when Jeb Bush was governor, he always talked about these big, hairy, audacious ideas that he wanted all of the people to come up with. Well, this looks small, but the impact on our utility is really significant. It reduces work time by our employees so that they can be doing something other than driving to somebody's house, chasing a number. And I mean, everything about it is just what we should be doing. Now, the one question I do have is, we hired a consultant to do this analysis. Couldn't Claude have done that? Just saying. But anyway, I think this is great, and Mr. Reed, I thank you for bringing this to us. For all the staff time that said, hey, wait, we can do this better. This is a great.
Ms. Campbell?
And I second it for the exact same reasons. Thank you, Brian, for bringing this to us. I mean, we're going to have to replace our meters anyway. I call you at least once a week to replace a meter because the meter's not working. And some poor lady called me this week, and literally in tears because she had 2 months of a high bill like you just described, and she was afraid we were going to cut her water off. So, I mean, if I could stop that from happening, a no-brainer, especially to do the pilot project and see if it works. So I'm all for it.
Dr. DiNanzio?
Are we allowed to questions?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I think the motion may have been a little before we were finished with the presentation because a couple people had questions. Dr. DiNanzio?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. How many meters do we replace per year now that are broken?
It's about 5,000 a year.
5,000 a year.
Yes,
That's a
sir.
5% failure rate.
And that's a combination of the entire meter may not have to be replaced. It may be the register. It's just not transmitting. So I'm giving you a combined number on that.
All right, but 5,000 are not working properly.
Yes.
Okay. My next question is about billing. Now, on Pensacola Beach, I think it's a little bit different for my water and sewer bill. In other words, if I pay a base rate. In other words, it's assumed I'm going to use 3,000 gallons, and I'm charged for 3,000 gallons even if I only use 1,500. Is that similar for other customers, or do other customers throughout the system pay on how much water they use? There's no base level. In other words, if I don't get to 3,000 gallons of water in a month, I'm still charged at that base level. Is that the same throughout, or are they charged by the absolute gallon on a per gallon basis?
Can I reply to that, Mr.
Please,
Chairman?
Mr. Woody.
It is different out on Pensacola Beach. The history kind of behind that stems more to the wastewater systems, anything else, and also the seasonality of the tourist season.
Yeah, understand
There are
that.
certain fixed costs associated with operating out on the beach, regardless of whether consumption out there is 1.8 million gallons a day, or it's only 300 to 400,000 gallons a day.
I understand.
And we actually ECUA inherited that model back in 1981 and have continued to support it ever since. But yes, you do pay a higher base rate, although please keep in mind that on average in our system, residential single-family home consumes closer to 6,000.
Really?
Very, very rarely would it be below 3,000 anyway. Probably that might only affect, nowadays, tourist season seems to get longer and longer. I imagine a lot of the rentals, frankly, are occupied the majority of the year. But even 30 years ago.
I understand. I understand the reason why. My question, for the rest of the consumers, not on Pensacola Beach, they pay a straight rate on what they use, or is there also a base level that they meet?
Yeah, remind me, Justin, the base rate of residential for the mainland is 0, or is it 1,000?
Everybody else pays based on usage. There's no
Gallon for
base
gallon.
rate.
Gallon, okay.
Gallon for gallon.
Thank you.
Brown?
Well, I didn't want to be premature with making the motion, but I agree with Ms. Benson and Ms. Campbell. It seems like you've done your due diligence. And, my question is, this looks and sounds so good, and you said you would like to start a pilot project. I mean, are you really, have you guys effectively put a plan together that you're going to be able to present so that we can start moving forward with this project?
Yes, sir. We're ready to go very soon. We've got a couple of software improvements that we're making right now, and as soon as that's done, we'll be ready to move forward with a pilot project, putting up a collector and get started with it.
Question.
Okay, please.
With respect to selecting the neighborhood that you're going to do this in, you have some ideas already? I think I overheard you say that you were looking at a newer build?
Yes, sir.
Type of residential area?
Yes, sir. I'd be looking at, it'd probably be in the Beulah area where we're seeing the most development, just to take advantage of, we can go and put a new box in there with the new meter, and there's no retrofit, nothing like that, and it'll save us some money, and it'll just be a cleaner installation all
Starting
around.
from scratch?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Great presentation, Mr. Reed.
Mr. Woody?
The one thing we haven't mentioned is the overall cost of this. That's something I'll get into a little bit a week from today at the board meeting. We're going to have a discussion about ways to fund some large CIP projects coming up, and this is a proposed project to fund through a proposed issuance of some bonds. But to keep on topic, $25 million expense is what we're talking about to fully implement AMI across all 112,000 customers. The majority of that being the cost of the infrastructure, the meters themselves, the labor involved and equipment involved to change out all those meters, installation of the new radio towers for picking up, plus software and everything else that's all entailed. Through a bonding process, we believe that's something we can roll out much more quickly than we could if we tried to fund it ourselves or over a much longer protracted period of time.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Cromartie?
Yes, sir. How long do you think this pilot program will run so that you can get a good understanding of how it's going to work and operate?
Say 6 months to a year, give us a good slice of data. Make sure that we're reviewing it fully.
Ms. Campbell? No, not Mrs. Campbell. Dr. D'Annunzio.
Thank you. Could you provide me with the calculations from the business case for your AMI? I see the numbers here. I'd like to see the report from the consultant to know how they came up with these numbers. I mean, you had a general overlay, but I'd like to see the nitty-gritty calculations if possible.
Yes, I'd be happy to.
And, I'm a little slow with the business case here of understanding the cost, or what would we get with AMI only?
AMI only, you would get, you would reduce those numbers of trips to pick up the visual readings.
So we wouldn't get the 8,000 readings a year? I'm asking.
You would with AMI only, but you would not get the benefit of the more accurate static meters.
Got it. And when you say cost, is that the cost of installation of just AMI only?
Yes.
And explain to me the benefits. How did you calculate it'll benefit us to the tune of $13 million?
It's the big one is the accuracy of the meter readings. And that you get the more accurate meter readings, and that also affects your sewer billing because that's based on your water consumption.
So the more accurate billing based upon water and sewer consumption.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits. The other one is the reduced labor costs to go out and read the meters and the initial, finals, and rereads.
And so, with that being said, just a minute, Doc. With that being said, I'm just walking across the chart. Then the cost still is negative $32,000, even after calculate the benefits. In column 3, benefits minus cost. I'm asking questions. That's what I'm doing. I'm asking questions. So that's what it says, and I'm trying to understand what it's saying.
Yeah, just
Pull
trying
up
to-
your slide.
Yeah, that's, okay, there we go.
I'm using AMI only, and I'm going across to the third column where we're talking about benefits minus cost, because we previously talked about the other two columns.
Okay, the benefits minus costs, that would be column 2 minus the column 1.
So we're still in the deficit at
Yes.
that point.
They're all in a deficit.
And so what's the alternative versus no change? What that mean?
The no change would be to continue what we're doing now with no AMI and just a steady replacement of meters and registers.
And if we did that, we'd come out in the positive annually.
No, sir. You would come out at you'd still be spending 24.1, and then you would not get the benefit of the more accurate readings and the reduced labor costs.
So what does it, under AMI only, where it says, so with AMI only, we get the benefits of $6.3 million versus not changing at all?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. You know what would have been good? If we could have had that presentation that was done 20 years ago, where they made the same case, of how beneficial the new technology would be, and to be able to compare that to this. You know, so, because my question is, how beneficial has the technology been that we're using now versus what we're talking about getting?
It's had a lot of benefits. I just think it's been a good system for us. It's just not the best system moving forward.
Did they present it as the best system?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't around when that was.
I mean, because we're presenting this as the best.
I was around, if I might.
Okay.
And we were able to reduce all of these meter readers. This became an state of the art when we adopted, and it saved a great deal of money. And this is just a leap,
Right.
and it's that much better. I mean, nothing that we did back then wasn't great.
Okay.
We didn't have this.
20 years removed.
Yeah, right.
Okay, very good. Dr. Denunzio?
Well, I was going to say the AMI only, the benefits they wouldn't give you the more accurate reading. They're only going to be the labor.
That's
You're
correct.
The four salaries that you're saving per year, correct?
That's
You're
correct.
saving 4 salaries of people over 15 years. So that's 4 times 15 is 60 times, get to the 13.2 million.
That's correct. I think I misspoke earlier and said.
But you also
that
should be
accuracy.
included in that would be the reduction in lost water. So it's not just labor, but it's also, you're going to recover $1.4 million, as I understand it, annually from being able to record.
No, that only comes with the static meters with the,
Is that with static? Is that where I saw that at?
yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. Brown, you have a question?
I don't know if this is a loaded question. It probably is. With respect to the 1,000 gallons per household that we're losing or not getting revenue for, is that going to increase the constituents' bills? And secondly, with respect to the 4 positions of salary savings, the addition of charging for the extra $1,000 that are being lost, is this going to be a way that we can translate that into less of a pay hike with all of the other things that we have going on with ECUA as we move forward?
It would certainly help with that. Yeah, I guess, number one, yes, it would increase their bill, but it would be an accurate bill
Right.
just based on their consumption. We would not be losing that 1,000 gallons.
Let me rephrase the question. So with this additional funding with the static meters, once this transition happens, would that mitigate the possibility of having to do these huge rate increases? In the last 2 months, we've talked about rate increases a couple of times, and so will that money
Mr. Brown?
be used?
Mr. Brown, let me defer
Okay.
to Mr. Woody as he talks about how we will perhaps pay for this. Then we'll answer your question.
Fantastic.
Mr. Woody.
Thank you.
I would answer that in a couple ways. First, we've been very fortunate that we haven't had, I guess I would differ with your perspective on the size of the increases we've had. I wouldn't call them huge. They've been in the order of around CPI, given the rate of increase in cost generally. I'd say we've done a pretty fair job for our constituents, and I'm proud of that. Secondly, we have lots of new things that are coming on to us. We've discussed at length PFAS and the extra investments we've had to make in capital for treating that, although we have some settlement money that will cover quite a bit of our capital costs of installing GAC filters at our remaining locations that we haven't already invested in. Our operational costs will be going up as we complete those projects, and instead of $1 million a year, we'll eventually be spending $5 to $6 million a year. A 1% increase in rates is about $1.2 million a year in revenue. So if we're saving 1.4 million gallons a year through this AMI process, that could be a 1% right there. That we might be a cost avoidance. Now, to be fair, how we figure our overall rate increase over a given year, our overall cost minus our expenses and what it takes to keep up with that. So when we have losses or waste, that just winds up getting divided amongst everybody's cost that we share and has an influence on how much we recommend to raise rates in a given year. If there's less of that to have to cover by everybody because we have more accurate meters, we have less losses and things like that, then the upward pressure on rates is reduced a little bit. It's competing with other things that are also pushing it up, but anything we can do to help reduce that is advantageous for the board and, more importantly, our customers.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. I think that clarifies the question. Maybe I didn't word it properly, because I know we've been good up until this point with respect to rate increases, especially when you look across the United States. I was talking about those things that we've been talking about the last couple of months that are going to cause more revenue to be going out. And my question was these additional funds that will not be coming back in, but basically being paid for by the constituents, that lessen any possible rate increases. Thank you, Mr. Woody.
So I think he said, just for clarity, that one of the things that will help is the fact that we'll lose less water, and by losing less water to the tune of $1.2, $1.4 million, every 1% increase in a rate equals $1.2 million. And so by reducing the water loss, we can, in essence, not raise rates by 1%. So that's a plus for the consumer, and that's where the rubber meets the road. So I'm concerned, as you are, about what the rate cost would be to the consumer. So we're presenting this as a savings, long term, right?
Yes, sir.
For the consumer. That would be the only way. Okay, we'll come back to you, Mr. Kirshner.
Thank you, Chair. I mean, it seems to me while the world is going faster and faster, AI, and this is not an AI thing, but essentially it's on the same level. For a utility operation like ECUA, I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, why have we waited? This has been out there and tested for some time. So you've got to do it. Otherwise, you just keep meandering around. So I think this is a magnificent thing. I think it will save everybody, the customer and ECUA. I mean, it's a given. So I like the idea of doing a test run for months to a year. I think that's smart. But in the end, we've got to move into the age of which we are at. So that's my pontification.
And we don't pontificate on the dais. Okay, Mrs. Campbell.
I just want to say thank you to staff for doing all the research on this, bringing it to us and describing it so well for everyone to understand.
Dr. DiNanzio.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to clarify that the savings of $1.4 million is not money that's coming, that's money that the customers are going to be paying extra. They're going to be paying for what they use. So that's not a real, their rates are going to go up. Their payments are going to go up by that amount. That money will come to ECUA, but because the meters are more accurate, telling exactly how much water they are using, it's not like found money. The constituents are going to be paying for that. On your calculation there, on the AMI only under benefits, that's, you said, is the labor, correct? You got four people, 4 positions. We're looking on AMI only, 13.2 million under benefits, correct? That's
Right.
okay.
Correct.
So that's 4 positions for 15 years. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, 4 positions for 15 years. That works out to each position costing, being paid $216,000 a year. Is that what it costs to hire those people? I don't know what they make, what their benefits are, but that's what I'm getting. 60 divided by 13.2 million divided by 60 is $216,000. That's what, yeah. So that's why I'd like to see the figures in long.
Yeah, there's more in that category
Yeah,
than just the staff.
Thank you. Let me go to Mrs. Ritz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sitting and listening, and really this has been an eye-opener for me to hear the scientific, mechanical, static meters. I keep thinking of the precious water that's out there, because when I was growing up, I lived in areas that water was very scarce. So anytime I can see a way to preserve, save the water that we have here, I think hooray, hooray. And that's what I really wanted to say. The idea of Mother Nature hasn't been brought up yet. I'd like to champion that. If we're not going to be using that water, it stays in the aquifer. Is that correct? Stay in the aquifer? If we're not consuming and pumping it out?
We don't pump it out, yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought. So that's another way to look at this. We are saving our water supply because to me, it's always very precious. And I'm thankful that our water system checks it daily, because that's something I championed not too long ago at a meeting, a public meeting. Someone was complaining, and I reminded them they can go to the website, and the water system is checked. Each well that's being used is checked daily. They had no idea, so it helps to inform the public. But anyway, water is precious in my mind, and we have good water.
Thank you, Mrs. Ritz. I have no more speakers. I wanted to give everybody a chance to ask whatever questions they may have. We do have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. For clarification, Mrs. Benson, would you state the motion, please?
Away place. The motion was to approve a pilot project to look at the new recommended and facing meters with technology as we begin that process, and includes the recommendations.
Very
How's
well.
that?
And it was seconded by Mrs. Campbell. Are there any questions? If there are no questions, please vote.
Chairman, if you'll indulge me for a moment, and this is, Robert's rules would criticize me for this, but Dr. D'Annunzio brought up an important point that we haven't discussed in a long time, and that is the differential billing rate at Pensacola. Pensacola Beach is a very different place than it was when we implemented that base rate, and now, as Mr. Woody said, is really a year-round destination. And I think at some point we ought to revisit that whole issue. Unfortunately, with Mr. Woody leaving, this referral to staff is probably a little bit on deaf ears, but I don't want us to forget that, because I think it's time to revisit.
Thank you, Ms. Benson.
And I was out of order.
So that means Dr. D'Annunzio's out of order. Okay, point well taken. And staff, Mr. Woody, they heard you, so perhaps at some point in the future, and we all heard you, so perhaps at some point in the future, we will bring that to the forefront again. We did have a vote that we are waiting to be calculated.
Yeah, Mr. Merzen, if you can hear me, did you want to vote yes or no on this motion? We might proceed without. Okay, we'll just proceed without his vote on there.
Okay, and it passes unanimously by a vote of 9-1, or 9-0. We lost a person. Okay, very well. So that concludes that presentation, and we have another presentation, Q, which is for our late fees.
Good afternoon. My name is Justin Smith. I'm the Director of Finance. I've got with me Sarah Seymour here in the audience. She's normally not in here, but that's our manager of accounts receivable and billing. So she'll be here to help out with any questions.
Okay.
Scared everybody away.
Yep.
Thought of late fees.
Now I was looking forward to it.
Or your assistant, you told him she was here to answer any questions. We are waiting for our next PowerPoint to be queued up.
I can go ahead and start. I mean, it's in the agenda materials.
It is.
I believe
It
the
is.
PowerPoint presentation is. So I'll just move forward until we get that figured out.
Very good.
Basically, there was a request made, I believe, at the last month to discuss late fees. ECUA currently does not charge any late fees to our customers. This is something we've been looking at anyway, so it was not too difficult of a task to put this together. Just an overview, as Brian mentioned in his presentation, we have 4 meter readers that they drive around and they collect the reads every month using the AMR technology, the automated meter reading. Once they collect that data, they bring it into the office. Our billing staff reviews the data. They run exception reports, verify it for accuracy, and then it's about 10 days after the read is processed. Once the bill is sent out to the customer, the due date is approximately 15 days from the date that the bill is issued. And if a customer does not make a payment during that 15-day time frame, if the payment is not received by the due date, then they have another 15 days before a delinquent notice is triggered. So that would be 30 days after the delinquent notice is processed and sent to the customer with an additional 15 days to make the payment before the services are disconnected. That's a total of 45 days from the original bill. If the payment is not made, then the services are turned. In order for a customer to get their services turned back on, there is a reconnect fee. They have to make a payment of the past due balance plus a reconnect fee of $32. And then this is just a timeline, just to kind of put it in perspective. If a bill is issued on March 1, the due date would be around March 16th. And then if no payment was received by March 31st, delinquent notice would be issued with a final due date of April 15th, and services would be turned off on April 16th. Nearby public water utilities. The list here on this screen, these are utilities that are close in proximity to ECUA. These are also the same utilities that in some of our bond covenants, we have what's called continuing disclosure requirements every year. So we have to report financial data, and then we also have to compare our rates versus utilities. I was not here when these bonds were issued, so I don't know how this this came about, but most of these are publicly owned. The City of Gulf Breeze charges a $25 late fee. All of the other utilities issued here, Navarre Beach, Okaloosa County, Mobile, City of Chipley, City of Crestview, and City of Milton all charge a 10% late. So that's kind of the standard. It seems like is a 10% fee. Our customer data. We have approximately 102,000 water customers, 83,000 sewer customers, 98,000 sanitation customers that are billed each month. Over the last 3 years, we've issued an average of 139,726 delinquent notices annually. And that represents about 11% of our total customers billed. Out of those 139,000 delinquent notices, approximately 13% of those result in disconnection of services. So in an average year, we issue 139,000 delinquent notices, and then 18,000 of those end up. And this table just shows the actual data for the last 3 years. And the average monthly bill for a residential customer, this is the total bill inclusive of all the fees. We have some capital improvement fees. Is listed in this table, and this assumes a usage of 6,000 gallons per month and a standard 90-gallon sanitation container and a 60-gallon recycling container. So if someone has all three services, the average monthly charge would be $118.94. If we were to put in a 10% late fee, that average customer, if they've not paid a bill on time, it would come out to $11.89. Now, remember, we do have a big mix of customers. We've got some that are water only, we've got some that are sanitation only, some that have all three, some sewer and sanitation. So there's a big mix. As far as a financial impact, it is very difficult to project what the impact would be financially for implementing this. You would think that some customers that typically receive a delinquent notice, they may start paying their bill on time. So that may, implement a fee, it may decrease the number of delinquent notices that we process each month. But regardless, if we did do a fee, not everybody, I don't think, would pay on time, because we do have 13% of those. While 11% of our customers currently receive delinquent notices, we maintain a collection rate of over 99% on utility bills annually. The uncollectible debt write-off that we do each year usually stays around 0.5%. So, it's not like we have a double-digit bad debt. I think industry standard, anything under 2% is great, and like 99.5%.
Just a moment, we have a question. Yes. Ms. Benson, you recognize?
So all of these other utilities charge a late fee, and we have 11% delinquency. Do you have any data on what percentage of theirs accrue a late fee? Is it a comparable 11%, or do you even know?
I don't.
That would be worthwhile information to know if the late fee is a deterrent in delinquency, although I don't know how you actually factor in for different demographics, but it still would be interesting to know.
Yeah, we have, and I've heard, some customers, well, I'm not paying, till I get that final notice anyways, because, it doesn't do anything about it. If you get on social media enough and you look at some of those county, Pensacola, pages, you can find all kind of great stories on there. I don't know how many of them are true, but a lot of stuff that how people try to wait as long as possible to pay for no other reason. So it may increase a collection rate, but only time would tell. This table shows the potential impact of a 10% late fee. And what I've done is I've gathered the late fee from the average customer from a couple slides back and said, well, what would the annual amount be if 100% of our delinquent notices turned into a late fee? Again, this is not scientific data. Not all of our customers have all three services, but if every one of our delinquent notices were only for customers that had all three services, 100% of them turned into a late fee, that would be $1.6 million. Again, that's 100%. That's assuming all 100% of them have all three services. It could be anywhere, if sanitation only, 472,000, water only, 509, sewer only 608. And then, I put some other data points on there. Well, it's, 75% of the ones that currently get delinquent notices continue to be delinquent, or 50% or 25%. So as you can see, the range is big. It could be anywhere from 400,000 to 1.6 million. We really don't have any way of knowing or calculating or even guessing where it would fall in that range. However, if this did discourage people from paying late, if we put in a fee and said, well, I'm going to start paying my bill on time, I don't want to get that delinquent notice anymore, because that delinquent notice is going to come with a fee, we would see a cost savings there. Our cost currently, and this is hard cost, this is not employee cost or time or anything like that. It's what we pay to have the delinquent fee, the delinquent notice processed, plus postage is 73 cents per notice is our cost on a delinquent. So doing 139,000 delinquent notices, that's going to cost us about $100,000 paying and issuing these notices. Any reduction in that is going to be.
Hold that thought right there, please. Mr. Kirshner, you're recognized.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there any, do you have any kind of vehicle for recurring delinquents? Customers that, do 3 or 4, 6 times. Gotta be enough of them.
Yeah,
What do we do with those?
Well, if they just simply get a delinquent notice, but then they pay before the final, due date, then nothing happens. They just got an extra envelope in the mail telling them that late. Now, if they don't pay, then their services get turned off. And again, that $32.25 for a reconnection fee, if you think about it, we've issued a delinquent notice, work order gets created, send a technician out there to cut their water off. They pay their bill. Normally, they either come in the office or they call because, hey, my water doesn't work. Let me make my payment. So you got a customer service representative on the phone with them taking their payment. They make the payment. Another work order gets put in. Send a technician back out there to turn the water on. That $32.25 even begin to cover that cost. It's kind of.
Well, we should think about increasing delinquency.
Well, and again, that's just a reconnect fee. That's not, currently we don't have any kind of issue that delinquent notice, and there's no fee associated with it. Unless they fail to make their payment by the final due date, and then services get disconnected, have them turn back on, they pay the reconnect.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Dr. DiNunzio?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When a new customer comes in, does ECUA get a deposit from them, and how much is that to start their service? Do we charge a deposit for them to start their service, and does that vary?
$86 for a residential customer with water.
All right.
And then after 2 years of good payment history, that deposit gets returned.
Okay. As you said, we're losing money every time we have to go send somebody out and turn their water off, and they invariably turn it back on. So we're losing that $32. I think this is a a no-brainer, and I would like to make a motion that we do a pilot program to increase the fees by late fees by 10% and monitor what the results are. We're going to save labor, we're going to save aggravation, and save money on sending out delinquent fees, I believe. And if, that's my motion.
Second that motion.
Mrs. Benson, you have a question?
I need to understand what the pilot program would
Well, if we come to find out there are negative effects of this late fee charge, something that we don't see now, then we just stop the late fees program. So we evaluate it. To be evaluated. How's that?
We could do that without calling it a pilot program.
Okay.
Pilot programs typically involve a certain sector or something like that.
All right. So this is for the entire, I'm saying for the entire customer base, implement a 10% late fee, and then at a later, in 6 months, evaluate the results.
I would prefer that we hold our motions until after our presentations so that we can get all our important questions asked without interfering with the rest of the business. So that motion, has it been seconded?
I'll thank you. I apologize, Mr. Chair. I will withdraw the motion for now.
Okay, that motion has been withdrawn. Can I ask the second to just hold fast for a moment?
I'll hold on it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We understand business will be coming, but let's get a chance to answer and ask all our questions first. Continue, please.
Okay, and this really, for the most part, concludes the presentation, but I would like to just remind everyone, this would be a new fee which would change to the code, which requires special resolution, similar to what we do with our normal resolutions each year if we had a rate increase. Require a preliminary public hearing and second meeting to put this in. As far as implementation of the fee, I hate to put her on the spot, but Sarah she's been working with our billing software company, just to see what it would take. I think there's some programming and stuff involved, but I don't. If the fee was approved, if it's all approved by the board and everything, probably take 2 months, 3 months. I don't want to not give us enough time to get all the programming stuff done. I would suggest, if it is, if everyone approves it and the board approves it, that we look at October 1. Almost in June now. If we, best case scenario, we would do a special resolution at the August meeting. Then you're only a little over 30 days out from that would be my.
Does that conclude your presentation?
Yes, sir. That is.
My only question, maybe I missed it, would be when we're talking about these fees, have we increased our fees enough to cover our cost?
Overall, yeah. I mean, we cover our costs.
No,
annually.
Like the $32 doesn't cover the reconnect, disconnect. So have we considered the cost of sending the drivers out for the reconnect as far as what it would cost for ECUA to at least break even on that transaction?
We haven't looked at these individually since I've been here, I think. I don't know if this fee has increased or if it's just increased that, 3% rate increase. 3%. I don't believe that's been looked at.
But does it make sense to you?
It makes sense, and I can certainly,
No, does it
Try
make
to-
sense
try
to
to
you?
calculate that.
Does it make sense to you, the amount that we're charging right now, does that make sense that we're charging that amount and that we're seem to be losing money on every transaction when we disconnect and then have to reconnect?
I'm the finance guy, so
Yeah, so-
it doesn't make sense to me because we're not covering our costs.
So-
However, there's a reasonableness aspect to it, you know. I know some of our other, some of these other smaller water utilities that they have water customers and then we share accounts. We provide sewer, they provide water.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them charge somewhere in that $30 disconnect fee, whichever one they call it, but in reality, that doesn't cover anybody's
Okay,
cost.
well, that's better information to understand how we may have come to that number as opposed to trying to cover the cost of
Right.
disconnect and reconnect. Okay, all right, thank you.
May I add a comment on that same topic?
Yes,
while
Mr.
you're on
Woody,
that topic?
please.
At the regular meeting of the board on Tuesday, April 28th, there was a resolution presented regarding preliminary rate setting resolution for establishing revised charges for miscellaneous fees, system extension, permitting fees, lots of other things. Well, that specific one wasn't listed. There were a lot of other miscellaneous fees, service fees, same-day service fees, check fees, delinquent processing fees, a lot of other things. As was mentioned, those are items that are a matter of code, so they have to go through hearing process and whatnot. I believe we can or should address that or look at that at the same time when we're looking at these other ones.
Okay, so we will look at that also.
Yeah, keeping in mind, there's a difference between those connect and reconnect fees in which we are the ones doing the connecting and disconnecting versus the ones where we work with another water provider, such as People's Water, for instance, where we provide sewer service, but they provide the water, and the charge that we pass along is literally a pass-through charge that comes from People's Water, and it's established by them, not us.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Campbell?
I thank you, Mr. Williams, for bringing that up because me, that I feel like everybody is paying for the bad guy, you know, not paying his water. He's the one making the expense, you know, paying it. So I appreciate staff looking into that.
Okay, thank you. I see no more questions. Is there a motion on the floor?
I will repeat my motion from before.
Dr. Denanzio, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will repeat my motion that we do due diligence in proceeding to implement a 10% late fee while being within the guidelines of the process and have that evaluated after 6 months of implementation.
I'd like to second that motion.
Okay, the motion.
May I ask that you include the proposed date not before October 1st to allow time for...
Sure, yes, not before
Thank you.
October 1st. Thank you.
Okay, so it's my job to repeat what they just said. And as I understand it, the motion is that we will implement a 10% late fee that will not be implemented until October the 1st. What was the interim part that I missed?
Due diligence and conforming to all required procedures.
Okay, with that. And that's the motion. We will implement a 10% late fee with due diligence and all implementation that will not take effect until October the 1st. It was seconded by Mr. Kirschner. Are there any questions? Ms. Benson.
And Mr. Chairman, I would just want to be sure that we work with our customer service people, because there will be extenuating. Somebody doesn't. You know, there are times when a late fee, really through no fault of customer service people cared for various arguments and so forth. For us to not be draconian, imposing these fees, and I don't think we are. I just need to voice.
I would hope we would always try to work with the customer if at all possible and get them out at least before making any decisions. And that's kind of been our history, and I trust we'll continue to do that, even with a huge rate increase, with a huge late fee and new charge. But joking aside, yes, your point's well taken. No more questions, then we're ready to vote. Please vote.
Mr. Merzen, if you can hear me? Okay, perfect. And just for the record, Mr. Merzen was present for the voting underneath the AMI presentation, so I'll make sure that it reflects in the minutes that he voted yes.
Okay, very well.
Mr. Chairman,
That's fine.
my screen is not showing any voting options.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Then,
Ms. Ritz, would you like to vote yes or no
asking for your vote audibly.
for your vote?
You have permission?
Yes.
I have nothing but motion approved. I have no voting box, like I've had.
I can allow one person to speak to Ms. Ritz, please. So they understand you have a problem, so they just want
Yes.
you to audibly tell them yes or no your vote.
Yes.
Yes, okay, great.
Thank you. And now she'll come and help. Very good. That's, everybody's voted. Tally. And it passes by a vote of 9-0. Have one more presentation. Our proposed 2027 proposed budget. And we are ready for that presentation.
So this one is not a PowerPoint. You do have a PDF in there. As you're aware, Mr. Woody is retiring here in a couple of weeks, so we wanted to get this proposed budget in front of you early. For any kind of questions or comments, I'm not anticipating any kind of vote per se tonight, just a up, thumbs down. I did want to put a plug in. One of the things that we've discussed over the last several months and some of our goals and objectives is one of the new software platforms that we've purchased, and that's OpenGov. A lot of governments across the country here in the county are using OpenGov for reporting and transparency and other things like that. And this product, this PDF document, is a product of OpenGov. So nicer, a little more professional, and this is still extreme rough draft. There's a lot more customizations and things that we can do and that we're going to do as we move forward. And this PDF document, it's in PDF version right now. By this time next year, hopefully well before this time next year, this will be set up as an online publication that will be integrated into our website. So all the pages that you see on here will be a web-based platform. You can point, toggle back and forth through the different departments and pages. And so it's just a little preview of what type of reporting we will get coming up. So just a brief overview. there in that proposed budget message that lays out just an overview of the entire budget. It starts out with the Consumer Price Index. This data was as of March 31st. The CPI was 3% over the last 12 months. The April data was not available. It did just come out middle of last week. And April 30th, 2026, the CPI increased to 3.6%. So not really going down. It's still rising. But anyways, that's why this is March 31st. That was the data that was available at the time. This was all together. In summary, for water and wastewater, we're proposing a 3% rate increase and a 2% rate increase for our sanitation customers. We went through all of the individual department requests in the budget hearings last month, and as you move further through the document here, we have some of the things that were done last month in the goals and objectives integrated in with the budget document, so it kind of flows a little bit. But all of that same data is in there. For the water and wastewater system, we are requesting 2 new positions in the Regional Services Department. One of them is in the Hydrant Services Division, and the other one is in the meter. Trainee positions to help out with the workload. For the CIP, Capital Improvement Program, we're proposing a $45 million CIP budget for water and wastewater projects. And that does not include the PFAS type projects that we're using settlement funds for. We've already received a good amount of the settlement funds from 3M and DuPont, so we've got $10 million of those funds that we've already received. Projects to put in GAC filters and make other improvements to a few of those. A 3% rate increase for water and wastewater would be $1 a month for the average residential customer that's a water-only customer. $1.19 a month for sewer-only customers. Total will be $2.19 a month. We'd still be in compliance with all of our debt service coverage ratios and compliance for our bonds. On the sanitation system, we had a very small increase in the operating budget, less than 1%, but we are proposing a 2% rate increase. The majority of that is some additional capital improvements, additional trucks, service that we're having to pay on trucks that we've purchased in the previous years. But with a standard residential customer, that would be a 53 cents per. With the MRF, Materials Recovery Facility, there's no rate setting involved with that. Last year, year and a half, we've been operating. We've got the City of Pensacola. They're bringing their recycling back to us now that they've reinstated the recycling program. That's going well. We're getting good materials from them. They're happy. We're happy. And then we've got our other private haulers that are continuing. So that budget just assumes operations kind of status quo on there. You know, the global's commodity market is very volatile, but our operating costs are pretty steady now with the right tonnage that we're coming in every month. As you go through the document, there's got charts in here, personnel comparisons. We've got the proposed sources fund. Questions? I know it's a lot of data, a lot of information. Most of the operating stuff is all discussed last meeting. Added the revenue and capital improvement debt service.
Ms. Campbell?
I don't see the CIP list. Is it coming?
Yeah, that's still a work in process. We should have that next week. I know Bruce is going to make a long-term presentation. Matter of fact, just a couple of hours ago, we made to the list, and and we've got a good project list and all. We've got the full 5-year.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mr. Stevens?
Justin, you said part of the increase was additional personnel or 2 new positions?
Correct.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, there are trainee positions in the regional services department. I think one is the hydrant crew, the meter maintenance. Did not
Finally?
Yeah,
So they're not senior level positions?
no, these are entry level trainee positions.
And just 2?
Just 2.
That growing from there? I mean, obviously there was something that caused the department head to say, hey, we've got a gap here. We need to fill with these 2 new positions we previously have.
Well, I don't want to speak too much
for the
for
department
Brian,
head,
but
right.
you know, they have a lot of overtime. Having these 2 new positions should cut down on the overtime. Pay them $1 instead of $1.50.
You're speaking my language now. No, that's fine. If you're looking at, if you're comparing that,
I don't think it's going
to reduce overtime hours.
It's not enough to eliminate overtime by any. That's the main reason.
Mr. Woody? You wanna say something?
To add on to what Justin just said, our system's been growing by 3% a year for many years, and eventually that reaches a tipping point where it's more cost effective to increase the staff or crew size or divide and create an additional crew by having additional staff people. So that's to help Brian's crews in those areas. I just wanted to Justin's horn and Sarah and the rest of the department as well on this new OpenGov program. Initially, all you're seeing is the improved formatting and general appearance. We're just scratching the surface. What will really be nice as we add additional graphing on particular things we want to highlight. The CIP program will have a newly formatted page that will eventually morph into accessible information on our web page. Yes, we have transparency in that you can go to a static PDF document if you dig deep enough in our website, and you can find our budget. But this will be much more interactive and responsive. I think you'll really enjoy it over this next year as Justin rolls out various features of it. And it took a lot of work to get here, and I really commend both of you for your work.
If anybody, has some free time and you wanted to go research another government agency that we're kind of modeling our OpenGov site over, the city of Granbury, Texas, all community, they do all sorts of services. Water department over there. Google them, go to their website, and you look at their financial page. That's kind of what we're modeling our online publication version like. It's a really nice setup, and there's a lot of information, a lot of relevant data. It's not just static like this. We can do current data like budget reports that we'll have on the board meeting next month. I've got dashboards already set up for that'll be ready to post on the web so that people can go a couple clicks. Hey, here's where the actual expenses as of today. Well, it'd be a day old. It'll be really nice when it's.
Grantsville, Texas.
Granbury.
Granbury.
Granbury, Texas. City of Granbury, Texas.
If you look up the finance department, there's a tab that specifically says OpenGov
Okay,
that you look for.
thank you. Dr. D'Annunzio?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What percentage rate are we looking to be paying on our debt service for these capital improvements that we're looking at? I know it fluctuates today. Give me a ballpark.
You know, the last one that we did a couple of months ago, can't remember the exact rate. It was a little over 3%, 3.4, I think maybe. But you know, obviously timing is everything. Order the trucks when they come in, and then we secure the financing. So, you know, we kind of ballpark 4% just to be conservative, but we haven't had one at 4% on an equipment loan in several years now. That's not an increase, but we've been in that 2.5% to 3.5% range.
Can I clarify a very important part, though, in case there's some confusion? He's answering a question regarding what interest rate do we pay on like lease purchase and those types of things. I think your question was probably more to that $45 million
Yes.
we spend every year.
Oh.
Yes.
That's pay as you go.
Yeah, sorry, there's no new debt in water and wastewater. $45 million will be paid out of
Operating.
current rates, capital improvement fees, impact fees.
I'm specifically talking about the new water meters that we put in. We're not going to need to borrow
Yeah,
money.
that we will, yes.
Okay,
And I have a
Yes.
whole presentation on that at the board meeting next week, but since you're not going to be there unless you're listening in, a real quick snapshot is that our Central Water Reclamation Facility that was constructed and finished in 2010 was a combination of about $150 million in revenue from FEMA and about $200 million in bonds, a series of bonds. Those will reach final payment in the years 2028 through 2031. And that gives us a very unique opportunity to redirect debt service that we've been paying toward those bonds over the last many years to a series of very important other large CIP projects that aren't in our smaller CIP annual project list. AMI meters is one of those, and we propose to, for your consideration. Again, this is just a presentation, something that will probably have to make some decisions in FY29, FY30, and going forward. But that's a proposed project to finance through bonds going forward. And we'll talk a little bit about interest rates and bond rates and things like that.
You got a ballpark figure?
I'll defer to
Ballpark figure
Justin there
for
a long term.
bond rates for
Bond rates.
It's,
bond market changes a lot every year.
yeah. You know, we're on our models, we've projected 4% for some of the shorter terms and 5% a couple of years down. I mean, it's
Okay, that's what I'm looking for, 4 to
Yeah.
5%. Thank you.
Granbury thing is great.
Yeah, so that's the same program that we have, and I've met with people from the city of Granbury, and we're scheduling some time with some software engineers from OpenGov to give us that type of customization. It's a free thing. It's not an additional charge, but looking forward to
Okay, thank you. That concludes our presentations. And so now, thank you, Mr. Justin, we appreciate that. Now we have the approval of minutes. And we're going to do that in both. We're talking about special ECUA Citizen Advisory Committee meetings dated April the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, and our regular ECUA Citizen Advisory Committee meeting of April the 21st. I've had a chance to review. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Mrs. Campbell to approve the minutes and a second from Mr. Stevens. Any questions? There are no questions. Please vote. Mr. Merzen, I voted yes. Vote two.
And again, the same problem.
Okay.
IT come here and try to fix it.
Do we want to, for those who cannot record their votes via the technological means, can we vote?
Yes. Ms. Ritz, would you like to vote yes or no on this motion? Ms. Ritz, were you going to vote yes or no on this motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good.
And Mr. Stevens?
Already voted yes. Is that showing?
No, not on my end. I'm sorry.
Okay. Hit again. Go ahead again.
I got a question for, while we're waiting for Mr. Woody, or the Robert's Rules of Order person. I wanted to add an item under new business. Can I do that after we approve the agenda?
I would just require a new vote of the rest of the board.
Okay, very good.
And just a reminder, our attorney is here, be the better person to answer those questions, but I'll help anywhere I can.
Mr. Pugh, would you concur? I would. Thank you very much. Mrs. Ritt, has your been
It's working well now.
corrected? Okay, very good. So we are waiting to tally our votes still? They were tallied?
Yes, sir. It passed 8-0.
It passed 8-0?
Yes.
Okay, very well. So it passes by a vote of 8-0. And just for the record of all of those who are still remaining, we need to maintain a quorum in order to get any other votes passed. So please, ma'am, please, sir, hold tight for the duration of the meeting. We are proceeding to the adoption of general resolutions, and we're looking at General Resolution 26-56. It is a general resolution authorizing the executive director to execute a contract with Florida Municipal Insurance Trust for workmen's compensation insurance and third-party administrator services for workers' compensation legacy claims with an effective date of October 1, 2026. Mr. Woody.
I'm very pleased to report some very good news. On a regular basis, we do put some of our insurance products out for proposals to evaluate how the market is in case there's opportunities for savings or to recognize if things have changed and rates need to change appropriately. This most recent time, we had one proposal for providing our workers' compensation insurance, also third-party administration services for some of our workers' comp legacy claims. Florida Municipal Insurance Trust provided us a proposal in the amount of $904,499, which is actually a decrease. Not only a decrease, a 14.7% decrease in premium savings. We're very excited about that. Very pleased about that. By the way, Mr. Clay Austin was gracious enough to attend this meeting with us. He's from the Florida League of Cities. He's the Director of Insurance for Member Services. Also, FMIT proposed to renew our legacy services agreement for workers' comp in the amount of $4,700, which is another part of this resolution.
Okay, very well. We're going to go through them all, and then we'll vote as a consent or individually if someone wants to pull one at the end. So we're moving forward to General Resolution 26-57, a general resolution authorizing the acceptance of bid and awarding of a contract, authorizing the executive director to execute a contract with WDR Mechanical Contractors, Inc. for $581,862 to install piping for the granular activated carbon system at the W and Avery well. Mr. Woody.
This is more of our investment work for dealing with PFAS. The Weston Avery well is located on West Street, about halfway between Fairfield and Cervantes, right across from the T&W Flea Market, if you know where that's at. This particular well, we had previously done some work regarding foundations. We had 3 different contractors bid on this work, which is for GAC piping on the site. WDR Mechanical Contractors was the low bidder at $581,862, and we're recommending award of that bid.
Okay, thank you.
And just to note, this project is being paid for through settlement funds.
This project is being paid for through settlement funds. Thank you so much. Now we have a question, Mrs. Campbell.
What does the C deduction option mean here?
I'm sorry, the what?
It says C deduct option. What does that mean?
Not sure understanding what you're saying correctly.
Okay, if you look at the file, view file on our board report,
Yes.
under WDR Mechanical, they're right underneath their amount. It has an asterisk. It says C deduct option. I want to know what that means.
May I defer to Tom Dawson, who oversaw the issuance of this? Sometimes we have add alternates and deduct alternates, and that's probably what that's related to.
Good afternoon, Tom Dawson, the Director of Water Production. And what that is we used to put ductile iron on some of our installations, but the cost to maintain it was high enough that it made better sense to go to stainless steel. This project was bid with stainless steel. They just offered a deduct if we would allow them to use ductile iron.
Oh, okay, so we're not taking the deduct option.
no,
Okay,
ma'am.
perfect. Thank you. That answers my question.
Very good. Mrs. Ritz, you recognize?
Yes, thank you. How much is left in the settlement fund? I read through the description. It did not say, and now the fund has X amount of dollars remaining. I was curious.
I don't have that exact information in front of me. I can tell you globally or generally that over the next period of time, over the next 8 years, we'll receive in total about $32 million. We already have the first probably 24 or 5 million of that. We have some money from 3M that will continue to come in annually over the next 8 years. We've only just begun using some of that. I think we have out between what we've spent and what we've allocated for next year, we're about $10 or $12 million into it.
Good to hear.
Okay. No change in policy from the EPA concerning PFAS?
I'm sorry. say
Has there
again?
been any change in policy by the EPA concerning PFAS?
Actually, I was going to put some information in your board report that are on that, that was sent to me by Don Palmer. There are some discussions.
I'm sure.
There's been discussions of, if you remember, there was the 4 parts per trillion limit put on PFOA and PFOS, but there were also a very detailed calculation for some lesser PFOS-related chemicals. There was some discussion about dropping those altogether. There's ongoing debate on whether that 4 number really needs to be 10. There's also some discussions about the implementation date, whether it ought to stay as it is or whether it ought to be bumped out 2 years. And there's stakeholders on all sides of those equations. So I was going to try to paint a little picture based on some information to kind of give you an idea what the issues are. It'll take a little time before we know how that all comes out in the wash, though. Right now, we're maintaining a schedule to be in compliance with the 4 parts per trillion as it is currently stated.
Okay, very good. 4 parts per trillion. Okay, moving on to ER 26-58, a general resolution authorizing the executive director to issue a change order to purchase order number 202-60081 with Green South Solutions LLC for Class B biosolids land application services to increase funding from $300,000 to $400,000. Mr. Woody.
A byproduct of the wastewater treatment or water reclamation process is the creation of biosolids. It's essentially a biological activity that has consumed the waste in the water flow, and produces an excess amount of those at the end of the process. We collect that and dewater it and have to get rid of it in one form or another. We use as much of it as we can in our compost operation. That part that we can't use in that process, we get rid of through an outside contractor, in this place, Green South Solutions, who's been doing that for us very economically for quite a while. This contract is to provide some additional funding to get us to the end of the contract period.
So if I understand this correctly, these are the people who make the compost?
No. We make our own compost. Biosolids are produced as a part of the water reclamation process, and we have to dispose of them in one form or another. The most expensive option would be to send it to the landfill and pay $45 a ton to get rid of it. As a cost avoidance and to provide a beneficial product to our customers, we use as much of it as we can in our composting process by adding it to ground up yard waste and sell it as compost. Depending on the seasons of the year, when yard trash is more readily available, we use higher quantities of it than we do wintertime, certainly. But overall, it varies from 25 to maybe 50% if we're lucky in any given time period that we're able to direct into the compost program. But the balance of that has to be gotten rid of. We dewater it as much as we can, send most rest of it through the dryer to further remove water, and then it's sold to a company called Green South Solutions. They use it as a soil amendment and fertilizer. Most of it goes to Alabama, I believe, farms.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Ms. Cromartie, you
And that
recognize?
cost to do that is 100,000 more.
That's to get to the end of the year. Refer to Randy to tell you how much we spend annually overall. It varies by the season. We have some equipment that's been down lately that's causing us to need a little more of their services than usual.
Chair.
You recognize Mr. Sears?
Randy Sears, Director of Water Reclamation. Usually anywhere somewhere between 275,000 and 350,000 a year, depending upon what kind of maintenance needs to be done on the dryer, on the composting facility. This is our last option. We would rather use the other two first. Mr. Woody had mentioned a landfill. The landfill cost right now is about $100 a wet ton, where this is $40 a wet ton, so it's a good alternative to that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sears.
Thank you for that clarification. I said $45. That's for just yard trash. This is called a special waste because of its water content and is much more expensive than just the standard $45 a ton.
Okay. More questions? So we're moving on to general resolution, ER 26-59. A general resolution authorizing the executive director to execute a contract with ECUA Beasley, Wilson, and Ball, LLP, for attorney services at specified rates and providing an effective date. Woody.
We enjoyed the services of Litvack, Beasley, Wilson, and Ball. In particular, we deal mostly with Philip Pugh and Carly Petrovac and their various staff for services, not only for day in, day out legal issues to help and support the department, but also litigation, whether it's plaintiff or defense issues, one or the other. This resolution is just for a renewal of their existing contract. The only thing that is changing in this particular year is we are increasing their proposed billable hour to 250. The rate for law clerks, paralegals, et cetera, is remaining the same as it was in the prior agreement.
Mrs. Campbell, you're recognized.
I enjoyed seeing Mr. Pugh in action this last month. Very good job. Thank you.
Mrs. Ritz?
Thank you. I've had the privilege of sitting as a CAC member for a number of years, and it's so refreshing to see your law firm represent each CAC meeting. Commend you for that.
Okay. Mr. Stevens? You didn't have anything? Okay, very well. We'll proceed to our final resolution, and it is GR 26-60, a general resolution authorizing the executive director to execute contracts with the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust for automobile and property insurance and Brown & Brown doing business as Risk Management Associates, Inc. for agent broker services for other commercial insurances with an effective date of October 1, 2026. Mr. Woody.
Similar to our earlier discussion about a prior resolution for workers' comp services, our HR department on a regular basis will issue proposals for other insurance products. Subject of this resolution is for automobile and property insurance services, as well as agent broker services. Again, I continue to be pleased to be able to report that FMIT, our low bidder, our low proposer, I should say, offered a decrease in premium for automobile insurance of 21.8% and a decrease of 38.87% for property insurance. That is a savings this year of $416,000. Very pleased with that. Also on the risk management side, there is a slight increase of 6.81%. That is a low dollar premium overall, so that only accounts for about $13,000. That's for a whole breadbasket full of miscellaneous insurance products like flood, cyber, enterprise risk, crime, public entity liability, railroad general liability. Overall, very good news.
Okay, thank you. The way, Mrs. Campbell, you're recognized.
I just had a comment. Across the board, I haven't seen anybody going down on cyber, so that was very impressive that we saw that go down 11% almost.
Agreed. No other comments? We're asking for a motion to adopt the general resolutions as a consent, or does anyone have any general resolutions that they'd like to pull?
I would like to move items A through E for approval. No one.
Okay, very well, then do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve general resolutions 7A through E by Mrs. Campbell, seconded by Mr. Kirschner. And are there any questions? Thank you. If there are no questions, please vote. I got a thumbs up. Okay, very good. Is it working? And we passed by a vote of 8-0. In our packets, we have our informational reports for water production and water reclamation for the month of March 2026. Please review those. And do we have any unfinished business? This is where I made an error earlier. I asked to approve the agenda. I didn't raise my hand to say that I wanted to put something under new business. My understanding from the attorney that would be that we would need to vote to approve me to speak on an item under new business. And what I'd like to do is ask the attorney to make a presentation on the independent special districts for clarification and understanding of the board. And so that would be my motion or my addition under new business. Having said that, I'd like to ask for a motion and a second to approve that under new business.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. Denancio and seconded by Mrs. Campbell that under new business, we ask the attorney to make a presentation under the independent special districts in the state of Florida. And so that we can have clarity on how that works for this board, particularly the do's and the don'ts for board members. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say about new business. Are there any committee communications? You know, when we started this business, when we started today, I thought we were going to roll. I thought it was going to be like, and now we're to our second open forum, where if there are any comments, but I have no peak form, so we are to that point where I'll need a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Just one moment.
Okay, just a
There was a
moment.
motion and a second. Just trying to,
Oh, and we didn't vote.
you didn't actually vote on it yet.
Thank you.
Sorry.
But they were going to present it anyway, but, okay, very well, for the technicality and the right way to do things. We're back on our agenda under new business, and it was moved by Dr. Donzio and seconded by Mrs. Campbell that we would ask the attorney to present information on the independence of special districts in the state of Florida for the board, particularly as to what the board can do, cannot do. And so are there any questions? If no questions, please vote. Got a thumbs up? And thumbs up from Mr. Bozang. And it passes by a vote of 8-0. Now it is official. And we did already talk about committee communications, and there were none. Now they were racing to get back to this point, so we're here. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion again.
Mrs. Stevens, motions to adjourn, seconded by Mrs. Campbell. There are no questions. Please vote. All right, and it passes by a vote of 8-0. So this CIC meeting is adjourned.
I'm trying to see if you guys are trying to start, make a record. You trying to get a record going here for a CAC meeting?
Now we talking
about money.
I guess so, right? I didn't see it coming.
And then I started looking at that, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, this is not going to be fast.